Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, America's #1 small business expert. And I am so excited to welcome you to another edition of Small Biz Chat Live. Here we engage experts to conduct live interviews that end up on the Small Biz Chat podcast. Today's show is all about how to best engage your small business customers. We're going to talk about how to get off the phone to get better sales results in your business. My guests today have some amazing insight to share. If you've been struggling with how to handle leads coming into your business, I've got some inspiration and advice for you. And if you're trying to determine how to get better as a customer service in your business, you're in the right place. I've got one of the top customer service experts in the country here tonight. And we're going to talk with both experts about how you can scale your business by outsourcing strategically. The Small Biz Chat podcast is a peer-to-peer interview show. And we give small business owners a way to get invaluable advice you wouldn't get otherwise, because the mission of Small Biz Chat is to end small business failure. Tonight's broadcast can be seen on my Facebook page, on my Small Biz Lady Facebook page, and on my YouTube channel. The goal of the Small Biz Chat podcast is to give our small business audience an opportunity to hear sage advice from multiple angles so that you can take your small business to the next level. Today's guests are candle enthusiast and entrepreneur Cherie Hendricks. She's going to explain how she went from overwhelmed with online customers to scaling her business. And we're going to talk with Kate Winkler, and she's the CEO of Ruby. And she is going to talk to us about how you can leverage customer service as a value proposition in your business. Now it's time for me to introduce my first guest, Cherie Hendricks. She is a passionate candle lover and entrepreneur. And as the founder of Laguna Candles, she's built an award-winning candle manufacturing company that produces sustainable candles. And she's based in the coastal community of Laguna, California. Some of her past clients include HomeGoods, the Ellen DeGeneres Show, and she produces candles for some famous people we all know, but she's not allowed to talk about that. She's going to share with us how she built her woman-owned family company, and her business, they utilize a proprietary coconut oil wax blend, and all of her candles are lovingly hand-poured and handcrafted. They often feature local artisans, vessels, and they offer an array of home decor and wellness products, including heirloom, artisan candles, corporate gifts, diffusers, and they do private label candles. And if you're in Southern California, you might even be able to drop by and take one of her candle making courses. It's a great team building exercise for those corporate folks out there. So without further ado, if you want more information, you can just go over to lagunacandles.com. Cherie, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It's very good to meet you, Melinda.
Well, I'm excited to meet you because I'm actually a customer of your business. I've actually been on your website and ordered your candles. So it's actually a real treat for you to be here with me today. So tell me your origin story. How did you start your business?
You know what? I always loved candles. And actually in 2003, with that love of candles, I would notice when I would burn my candles, and I bought quite a few, I would see like soot, and just didn't seem like a clean burning experience. And another thing, at the time I have 3 daughters, and of course they're adults now, but at the time they were younger. And I really wanted them to be able to choose between working for someone or for themselves. So I came from an entrepreneurial family. My mom was an entrepreneur, my grandfather was. And I just started to do research on better burning candles. I know that it may not make sense to others, but that was important to me because I saw the difference. And thus launched Laguna Candles. We're here in Laguna Beach, California. And just based on the research, I saw that there was obviously a need for that type of product, if you will. And that's how I started it. I started it just with basically those simple factors.
Awesome. So your company is a family business, right?
Exactly. We're a family business. Originally, we started off, I would purchase candles from other companies, and then they would allow me to rebrand it or private label it, and I would sell it. And we did that for a few years, and then we decided what we wanted to do was start to manufacture our own candles. And my husband and my three daughters work within the company. And a lot of the manufacturing basically is done by my youngest daughter is production manager, my husband is marketing director, and then the other two work within the company, sales manager, and then my other daughter is CEO of the company.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell me, that's really interesting to have your whole family working in a business. That sounds like a good and bad thing. So I imagine there's like some stressful days with that.
Of course, of course. And by the way, I didn't mention my son-in-law. He'd kill me if I didn't. He's also worked for production. But yeah, there are, of course, stressful days. And especially one of the things I noticed was when we first started, my goal was just to sell candles online. And so we, got the website, the online sales, I noticed was not huge, but the business started to take us in the direction of mostly spas and resorts reaching out to do private label candles for their hotel or spa. And so it's just been a real interesting journey, but I'm very excited. Now, do you at times have the stresses? Of course, it's all about business. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's been, I'm encouraged to see that it's been very sustainable for our family.
So I know that you manufacture candles, but what other types of products do you guys provide?
That's a good question, because we've had ones who want the candle, they love the custom fragrance, and then they want either a hand lotion or a vegan soap. And not only that, we also offer room sprays and diffusers.
Okay, so any kind of smell good kind of device you want, you guys can do it. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, and also some prefer unscented. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I love the way candles smell myself. The whole reason why I want a candle is because of how it smells. But I can guess there's people that don't like. Well, I guess there's people that are allergic to perfume, so that kind of makes sense. So when you think about your business and think about your value proposition, what would you say that it is?
One of the things that I feel that it is, the first word that comes to mind is opportunity. We've had, especially last year, we've had women or men, but the core of the business is private label candles. But we've had many who are home and who may have had a goal of starting their own candle business. And what better timing? So we've had ones reach out to us. They want to launch a private label candle for their brand, or either they wanted to start their candle company. And we have that as an opportunity for many women who want to start their business. So I feel like that's an important factor of our brand.
So what would you say, thinking about that, what would you say is your top marketing channel? Like, how do people find you and find Laguna Candles?
I'm surprisingly, Instagram is a very good marketing tool for us. Many, because I generally will ask, how'd you find us? When we get those calls or either those emails. And typically they'll either say Google, but quite a bit of the times they'll say Instagram. And we've done that organically for years. So I can see the benefit of doing Instagram ads and also Facebook ads.
Okay. So how did the pandemic affect your business? Was your business hurt, or did you guys kind of innovate through the pandemic? Like, what happened to your business?
Well, we did have to pivot. We were making our candles out of our garage a couple of years ago. And then we found just a great location downtown Laguna, right by the art festival. And the size of the location gave us an opportunity to not only be able to have a small retail store in the front, and then we also had our showroom for the client who wants to come in and do their own private label or corporate gifting item. And then the very back, we were manufacturing. And it was going somewhat well. The retail store was not as busy, I have to admit, but on another note, the manufacturing was really coming along well. And then COVID hit. So we were told that we had to not only shut down the retail store, but we also had to no longer have our corporate clients or private label clients come in to sit down and go over their custom fragrances and things of that sort. So everything kind of changed from that standpoint. But thank goodness for online sales, and people wanting home and wanting to buy a candle. I'm so grateful. We did continue with our marketing efforts. And I feel that, and I'm so grateful for, I know I mention women a lot, I'll mention women, but I am so grateful for that woman who decided, gosh, I really want to go on and start my candle business. And then for them to come back and they say, oh, I sold 100 of them. I'm ready to come back and do another. And it's just so encouraging. And so that's actually, it did allow us to scale, if you will. We saw the growth. But then we also saw a need for a second location. And so our second location is about 15 minutes away. And it's a much larger manufacturing facility. And now we can offer warehousing. And so even though it was challenging last year, and I'm sure it was for everybody, I still came into 2021 with a lot of gratitude.
Awesome. That's great. So it sounds like the pandemic was a setback to a flash forward. So that sounds really, really good. So I imagine with all the leads coming in from folks wanting to do their own candle business and private label candles and stuff, you have a pretty small team. So how did you guys kind of manage all the leads that were coming in?
We were fortunate in that I had a very dear friend. I shared with her this challenge because I said, when we're in the middle of making candles, we're getting phone calls. And oddly enough, we did get emails, but it was more so calls. And this friend of mine, she mentioned this company called, she referred to it as Ruby Mail. I believe it's called Ruby. And she mentioned that how they'd helped her company. And so therefore I reached out to them and they were very professional, extremely helpful and hearing me out and hearing what our challenge was and coming up with a plan. And that was a tremendous help for us because you can imagine customer service is huge. You don't want anyone waiting days to get a call back and things of that sort. So they just kind of, the way it helped strengthen our brand. It really did help with our customer service also.
Well, so tell me, so what was going on? Like, how big of a bottleneck, was it for you guys?
Gosh, I don't have this. I don't have all the stats with me, but I know on an average we were getting, I'd say approximately, I'd say maybe about 50 calls a day or maybe a little bit more. And as these calls are coming in, you cannot I didn't feel comfortable with them just going to voicemail. It wasn't personable enough. I really wanted someone to be I wanted them to get a live voice. This was not the time for someone who's already home and dealing with whatever to have to get on a voicemail. And so the idea of a live voice, someone getting on that line and really hearing what the call was about, of course, helped. And so just that in itself made me feel a lot better about the process. And so did I answer your question?
No, you definitely, I felt like you definitely answered my question. But I guess my follow-up question to that is, so what happened? So you engaged Ruby and then what happened?
What happened was they kept their promise. They spoke with the client. They found out what the need was. We would typically get many emails from them, and they let us know. John Doe reached out. He's wanting to include 1,000 candles in his hotel, and he'd like you to follow up with the phone call because he's really kind of wondering what fragrances to go with. So they were very specific. I like the idea of they didn't have leave the client, the potential client hanging, and we were able to get that lead. And so therefore I was able to increase my team, by a couple of people, and we were able to follow up as we got those leads in.
So it sounds like that really kind of catapulted you guys to realizing that you needed you needed a bigger manufacturing space because of all these, 50 calls a day is a lot of calls. So, that's a lot. So kudos to you that your marketing was working elsewhere. But boy, one of the biggest challenges that I think a lot of small businesses have is with follow-up. And I tell people all the time, it's one thing to have a sales system, but if you don't have a follow-up system, what you're going to have is a leaky faucet, right? So those leads are going to go, right back down the drain to go find somebody else. And that is not what you want if you spend all kinds of time and money driving traffic, driving leads, and then you don't have a good follow-up system. So I am so excited that you were able to leverage a service to help you. And with that, I'm going to go to commercial. When we come back, I want to hear more about how Ruby helped you revolutionize your business. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. You're watching the Small Biz Chat live, and we will be right back.
People always ask me, how can I become my own boss? With multiple features in the New York Times, Forbes, and on ABC News as America's #1 small business expert, I know a thing or two about how to do it. Hi, I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, and I've been coaching small business owners since 2008. That's right, I've been helping small business owners plan for success since the last recession, and I'm still here reaching over 3 million small business owners a week online. I've spent the last 12 years compiling exactly what I did to become my own boss. I even broke it down into a 6-step system in my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. Over 100,000 people in multiple languages around the world have this book. And due to the pandemic, I know people need help. If you're ready to transition successfully from being an employee into your own business, I'm here to help. I'm giving away 1,000 copies of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months for free. All you need to do is pay for shipping. That's right, I'm giving away 1,000 copies for free. If you've always wanted to start your dream business, let me give you a roadmap to success. This offer will only be available while supplies last, and when they're gone, they're gone. Click on the button to grab your copy today.
Welcome back to the Small Biz Chat podcast. We're talking with Cherie Hendricks, the CEO of Laguna Candles, and she's talking to us about how you can leverage outside vendors to boost sales in your business. Cherie, thank you so much for being with us. I want to pick the story back up now. Okay, so you got Ruby's answering the calls. They're sending you emails every day with who wants what and who this, and then what did you learn? And how did your business change once somebody else was answering the phone?
By the way, you mentioned the CEO, I'm the founder. So I want to be clear on that because I don't know if my daughter would like that. So I wanted to be clear on that. Okay, so what did I learn? First of all, I learned about the consistency because sometimes you can miss calls. You take it for granted, and all of a sudden, on a consistent level, had we not had someone kind of chiming in like Ruby and being able to give us an idea as far as the amount, I had no idea we were getting that many calls. Because keep in mind, before this, they were just going. My husband, we were manufacturing, so they would go to voicemail. Yes, some we took, and then with wanting to manufacture, to start your own candle business, there's a lot of questions involved. It's a lot more involved than just oh, let me go and grab that candle off the shelf and let me buy it. Because we're making something that's customized for them and their vision and the fragrances they love. And so a lot of that information, even though Ruby didn't sell for us in no way, but what they did was they were able to glean information. Oh, this person, they mentioned that they are really interested in a floral fragrance or things like that. So that helped. And I also learned the importance of, I've always felt that follow-up was huge. To me, I've had people thank us for following up. That's how vital it is that you not, drop the ball and that you are consistently following up. So I think that part of it really enhanced our overall message as far as showing we cared about that inquiry.
Well, did you change anything about your business based on the insight that you were getting from the information that the Ruby receptionist was getting for you?
Yeah, I had to increase my team. So yeah, that's one thing. And also I had to emphasize that it wasn't okay that the phone ring or that you not follow up. So there were certain things that we had to, it was imperative that we make sure we follow up and do it in a timely manner, and so it took some discipline, but it was not okay for days to go by for someone not to get a call back. But the overall business model, I wouldn't say we changed it from that standpoint, but we just put more thought and we really worked well as far as did the best we could on working on customer service.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it. So if you were talking to another small business that was, a service business, fielding sales inquiries, what advice would you give them about, how to organize themselves or, whether or not Ruby might work for them?
Well, I would just suggest that they be mindful of the fact that if they're getting inquiries and they're getting leads in and they're falling to the wayside or they're not able to handle it, I think it takes humility and it also takes trust to be able to delegate, reach out and say, I need a little help here. And then not only that, don't expect them to sell for you because they won't, but they can help make the process easier. And that's what we found.
Well, I think that's a great testimonial. So tell me this, in all your years you've been in business, what, 17, 18 years?
Yeah, since 2003.
What would you say is the best business advice anyone has ever given you?
Two things. Number one, I was told early on, and I also I mention this to others who ask me, sometimes people think it's so easy. And I think that one of the best advice is not for the faint of heart. Be ready to hang on and hang on tight. So don't assume you're going to be home and, I have a business. It's a lot of work. And then the other thing, I can remember someone, and he's also a dear friend, but he said, no one would ever spend $35 for a candle. And when you hear someone say, that would never happen, let that inspire you. Don't let and I know he wasn't being negative, but to him, that was not real. But to me, it was. And so don't let the naysayers just not destroy your dream, but impact your dream. If it's real to you, keep at it. And like I said, it's not for the faint of heart. Be ready to work.
I love it. I love it. Cherie, thank you so much for your valuable insight. Up next, we're going to be talking with an expert about how to make customer service your value proposition in your small business. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. You're watching the Small Biz Chat podcast, and we will be right back.
If you're a small business owner, you do it all. You're probably doing 9 things right now, 10 if you're listening to me. In other words, you're amazing. But here's the thing about small business owners. The reason you do all of those things is because you get to do that one thing only you can do. It's the thing you love, maybe more than anything else in the world. We're Ruby, the team of remote receptionists and chat specialists whose one thing is turning every interaction into a relationship. We answer all your calls and chats live. We screen, transfer, and take messages 24/7, all while making your customers feel special. Transforming your front desk and website into the sales engines they were meant to be. But what we really do is give you time to do that thing you do even better. Experience Ruby for yourself. Visit ruby.com, or better yet, call us 866-GET-RUBY.
Welcome back to the Small Biz Chat podcast. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, your host, and I am so excited because my guest is the CEO of Ruby. I've got Kate Winkler here, and she is going to talk to us about Ruby. You know, she became the CEO almost 2 years ago after a 25-year career in the technology sector. She's worked with small and large businesses through various stages of growth, and she was a small business leader herself. She fell in love with Ruby's purpose-driven mission to serve small businesses and to help them survive and thrive through real human connections. Ruby works with over 13,000 businesses across the U.S. to connect with their customers, clients, and they do that by phone and online. So they provide virtual reception services and chat specialists to create meaningful human connections and build loyalty and trust. And they do it 7 days a week, 365. So, you know, they are never not there for their customers. So I'm so excited to have you here with me today, Kate. And I also want to mention that, you know, Forbes magazine highlighted Ruby as one of the best small companies to work for in the US. And that's no small thing to get, because that means your employees said you were great. So I'm so excited to have you here with me, Kate. As I said, I know about your company and have referred people to your company. So it's so nice to actually get a chance to talk to you. So welcome to the Small Biz Chat podcast.
Thank you so much for having me today, Melinda. I am a huge proponent of all of the guidance and the advice that you give small businesses, because I think our purpose is very similar. This is about making sure we have a healthy, sustainable small business community.
That's right. And it's worth saying that, you know, small business owners create 70 to 80% of the net jobs in America. So if you don't think you need to be supporting a small business, I don't know who you think you need to be supporting, but think about it. You support a small business, that means you're supporting your local community. So Kate, tell me your origin story, right? I mean, you came from somewhere. So tell me how you got on this road and became CEO of Ruby.
You know, it's a funny story, because I had the opportunity to meet Jill Nelson, the founder of Ruby. Who anyone who's ever met Jill, she is this amazing entrepreneur that just has such a driven purpose and passion about small businesses. And I met her while I was actually working, interestingly enough, in investment banking. So I had a career building and running small technology companies. And I took a little bit of a break and said, you know what, maybe I should shift to helping more small businesses grow by getting into the financing side of the business, helping them get properly funded. So I did that for about 10 years. And interestingly enough, Ruby was one of those companies that I had the opportunity to meet to say, we want to find a way to meet and help more small businesses. Can you help us? And I remember my first conversation with Jill, and she was explaining what they do. And I said, oh, you're an answering service. And I thought she was going to jump through the phone in strangle. I'm like, no, what did I say wrong? She's like, oh, you don't get it. And I said, clearly not, but I want to get it. Help me. And she said, get on a plane and come to Portland. So I did. And I flew and went into a Ruby service center. And what I saw was nothing like I have ever seen in my life. And what it really was is Rubies are small business advocates. They take time, they are purposeful, they are passionate about what they do. They understand the value of, they create time in the day of a small business owner. They're helping screen calls. They're taking on someone's brand and reputation, and they take this job very, very, very seriously. And all throughout the halls in a Ruby, you can stop anyone and say, my job here is to help small businesses thrive. And I think we all know in the last 18 months, it's been a little bit more on the survive so we can get back to thrive. But it was such an amazing business. So I had the pleasure of working with Jill many, many years ago. This was probably about 2017, to talk about maybe there are new ways to grow the business and offer services, new channels like partners to get to finding more small businesses and avenues like chat. And so worked with her for about 6 months, then went back to my merry way and was working with a bunch of other businesses. And she called me and told me she was retiring. And I said, oh my gosh, let me think of all the people that could help you. She said, what about you? And I just said, oh my gosh, I haven't done this in so long. Are you sure you really want me? And we had a fun discussion, and I'll give her the same advice I would give anyone, saying, I am intrigued, I am honored, but you should run a thorough process. And if I'm the person that comes out the other side, this was meant to be, but don't pick me because I'm the easy choice either. And I was the one that made it through the other side. And I've been at Ruby now for 2 years.
Well, I think Miss Jill probably knew what she was talking about. She wasn't just going to turn her baby over to anybody. So obviously she had an enormous amount of respect and trust for you, because it's hard for a small business founder to take their hand off the wheel. I mean, really, like, it is very, very difficult. So it says a whole lot about you and her that she was willing and able to do that. But that does bring me to my next question for you. So, like, how hard was it to take over the reins from the founder? Usually it's a family member or something like that. So how hard was it to step into Jill's shoes?
It was hard, but what I have to say again, Rubies at their DNA are empathetic and kind. So I went in my first day, Jill was with me. She said, let me tell you why I picked Kate, and everyone is going to be fine. And it was definitely like, I don't know about you. But it took a little bit of time to say, by the way, I actually came here because I wasn't looking for another job. I wasn't saying, yeah, I want to be CEO again. It really was. This was a business that has purpose, that really has a true benefit onto community. And I'm at that point in my career that I want to do things that have passion and purpose for them, and not just do things for the sake of doing them. And I said, so let me tell you what I see in Ruby and what drew me to this business. And there was this deflation in the room going, oh, you get it. Like, okay, this is going to be all right. You get it. But it was interesting because the transition from a founder-run business to, we have 700 employees now. They're very different styles, because founders and entrepreneurs, I'm sure, as you very well know, Melinda, their persona and their financial well-being is tied up in their businesses. And so a lot of decisions have to go through one person, where everyone who works for me knows, like, that's your job. I don't want to make that decision. Like, what do you need? Do you need help with that decision? I'll help you, but that's your decision. And let's have everyone make decisions. So it was definitely a different shift in style.
I like it. But so how has Ruby evolved? Like, even in the last 2 years, what kinds of things have you put in place to, like, kick it up a notch, if you will?
So Ruby, we have put a bunch of investment into making sure our business can scale, because our goal, growth is important, but not just financial growth. It's the ability to truly service well as many small business customers that need help. So some of that is doing a better job at getting awareness of who we are and what virtual reception services and virtual chat services do. So we have a responsibility to generate content and awareness going, do you know these things exist? We can help you. But making sure our technology will scale as well. And one of the things that I think is really far under the covers for a business like Ruby is how much technology we have, because we've got 13,000 customers, and every single customer is different, and they have a different brand, and they have a different persona. And some of them want to grow. And some of them are saying, this is a lifestyle business. I just want to keep it steady. And so we have to understand what are the goals of 13,000 different businesses and how do we support their unique individual goals, their brand, their persona, their office hours. And it's extraordinarily complicated. And we do that with technology. And so we've made a major investment in technology in the last 24 months to make sure we can do that rapidly and easily at scale so that every customer is its own unique customer. So, and we can be flexible and we can provide way better proactive support to our customers. So rather than waiting for them to call us and say, hey, I have a problem, we're looking at the data going, hey, I think you have a problem. And because we can be that leading indicator to them going, something happened in your phone call volume or your website traffic. Did you do something on the marketing side? We see it. And let us help you identify that maybe there should be some analysis going on. And so we want to be the extra set of eyes and ears for our customers to help them make better decisions and to even help them tie ROI on things like marketing spend. Hey, you just ran that new program? Let's give it a dedicated phone number and see how it goes. Let's see how that new radio ad works for you, or see how that new marketing campaign works for you.
I love it. I love it. So you guys are really data wonks. You guys are up in there looking at data analytics day and night, huh?
We absolutely are. And that is one thing. If I tell this to small businesses a lot, is data is your best friend because it's unemotional. It's very, very, very factual. And so it's not waving a finger at you. It's just saying, hey, you have a problem, dig in a little bit. Or more importantly, you've got a problem coming. You can prevent that if you react now. And so those are the things that we really are taking on as a business, to be that business partner. So not just the person that's capturing and helping triage all of your inbound demand, but also helping you make better decisions and giving you those flags of, hey, white flags, something might be happening here.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about you guys is your slogan is "We sweat the small stuff," right? And like my whole life, my mom has been like, "Don't sweat the small stuff," and everything's small. You know, my mom's been telling me this for my whole life. But you guys say, no, let us sweat the small stuff for you. And I really, really like that. Tell me how you guys kind of came about using that.
You know, it's every year Ruby has a slogan, and sweat the small stuff was one year. In our customers' shoes was another. This year comes back to sweat the small stuff. It's about the little things. Those little things really, really, really matter. That moment of kindness and empathy will change someone's day. It really matters. And so those are all the things as we try to connect our receptionists to our customers and to their callers. And because again, this is about brand and reputation, because if you really think about what our small business customers are doing, they're outsourcing their reputation and their brand to Ruby, because we are the first communication and interaction you're going to have with that brand. And that's a big deal. Like, we take that really, really, really seriously.
I like it. I like it. So as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, okay, that's something to really think about. Like, trust when especially when you are a service business, people can't touch and feel what you sell. Your reputation is what you're selling. So that building that trust relationship from the first phone call is just so key. And so that kind of dovetails into my next question about, well, how can leveraging a service like Ruby help a small business just strengthen their overall customer experience?
Yeah, it's really two simple concepts. And one of those is trust, but I'll start with the first, and it's opportunities. So as we think about a small business, very often a small business is too busy to answer their phone. It's a plumber that's under a house right now. It's a roofer that's on a house. It's an attorney that's in court. And so those number of interactions that they're getting, they're missing a very large number of them. But unfortunately, what's happening is all of those interactions that are coming in, 20% of them are new customers. And so those opportunities, those 20% of new customers, they're going to make a decision in 1 hour. So if that opportunity comes and goes within 1 hour, you've lost it. And so our job is to capture every single opportunity. Now, the customer, our client might not want every opportunity, but we're going to capture every single one. But if we don't establish trust after catching that opportunity, then we've already lost, and that lead and that opportunity went down the drain as well. And so our next goal is establish trust. And this matters a lot because if we think about where small businesses get their leads, and Ruby is no different, it really is about referral, and it's user-generated content and feedback about how was my experience with this particular company. And if you were to think how many times you get one negative review, it takes 12 positive reviews to wipe out the impact of one negative review.
Wow.
So trust really, really, really matters. And if we think about all of the different aspects of, again, where do leads come from? If I were to put Ruby's hat on, 40% of all of our leads come from customer or partner referrals, people who know us, that know our brand, that know our reputation. 40%. And by the way, that's the least expensive type of lead that any business can get. So we also value creating that brand and reputation because we're also lowering the cost for our customers to do business, to capture more leads. And so as we think about us for Ruby, our goal is to capture every opportunity for our customers while establishing trust at the same time of giving more time back to our small business customers to focus on their passion and their purpose. And so it's a fairly big job and goal for what we want to do. But for us to do that, our Rubies and every single one of our receptionists and chat specialists, they have to be connected to our customer. They have to believe in their passion and their purpose and understand their contribution to community. And that's, I think, is what really is our secret sauce.
So let me ask you specifically about the service. So what is the biggest difference between your live phone sort of service and your live chat service? Like, is it just live chat? Like, are you guys a follow-up to like a chat bot service? Like, how does your sort of like, I guess I'm asking, how does your online service work? Because I kind of know how your phone service works, right? But I don't understand completely how your online service works.
So interestingly enough, for chat, we have 3 different offerings, and they actually work seamlessly together. Because if you were to look at the chat environment, most small businesses have not begun to use chat, and it's just an awareness problem. It's definitely not a value proposition issue. It's awareness. And so if we think about 36% of small businesses don't even have a website still. And so that's one problem of going, oof, we can't have chat if you don't have a website. But the other 66% that do have a website very often don't even know what their traffic is. They don't remember who they host their domain with. They have no idea how to get chat working on their website, and it's intimidating. And so our job is to come in and say, you know what, we can do that for you. So there's a bunch of different ways. If you buy any of our reception services, we will give you a chat bot for free. So that is actually technology, but this is just, let us give you something for free just to measure what is your traffic on your website and how many people are coming for just office hours and FAQs, which about 20% of all online questions can be answered with a chatbot intelligently set up. And we have wizards to help and things like office hours, directions, et cetera. However, what we'll say is if we can't answer your question today, click to call this number and Ruby's going to answer. So we're going to make sure you don't lose that opportunity. And we'll do that for you for free. So let's just test it out and measure. So it comes back to data. Let's get some data about what you have going on your website. Where are people going? What are they doing? Where are they interacting? Now, if we now realize you've got quite a bit of traffic, do you have enough time? You can use our self-service chat function. And what it will do is we then upgrade and say, just walk around with a mobile phone in your pocket and it's going to ping when somebody's on your website looking to interact. And you can interact directly just from a mobile application. Looks just like doing a text message and saying, so we can help you interact, engage with clients. And we're going to empower you to do that with a mobile phone, or if you're in front of your desk, there's a desktop app as well. And then if you're going, but I'm one of those small businesses, I don't have enough time to do that, then we actually have live chat answering, just like our reception services. And so if you're an existing Ruby customer, we already have your company information and your instructions, and we'll access all of that automatically. So it's one cohesive service and it's one cohesive view of your brand. So we have all of those different flavors, because where we're finding is answering live chat, but not knowing what your website volume is. A lot of customers aren't ready to get there yet, but it's tell me what I have. I don't really know, but be my backup via the phone if in fact somebody's not there.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for explaining all this to me, but don't go away. When we come right back, I'm going to talk more with Kate Winkler about how Ruby might be able to help your small business. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. You're watching the Small Biz Chat Live podcast, and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, and I'm known as America's #1 small business expert. I know a thing or two about how to run a successful business. I've been running my own for over 20 years, and I'm often asked, how do I actually become my own boss? It starts with knowing what you want and why. Then you need to figure out how you'll fund your dream business. Next, you must research your idea and make sure you understand everything that's involved. Next, you must determine your target customer, then complete your business plan. And finally, it's time to start your business as a side hustle first, if you can. I wrote my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, to give you a roadmap to business success. And over 100,000 people in multiple languages around the world have been helped by this book. And now, to support people affected by this pandemic, I'm giving away 1,000 copies of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months for free. All you need to do is pay the shipping and handling fees. If you're ready to turn your calling into income, claim your free copy of my book today. Don't delay. This offer is only good while supplies last. Click the button below and get yours before they're all gone.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Small Biz Chat podcast. I'm talking with Ruby CEO Kate Winkler, and she's telling us about how Ruby helps small business owners. So, okay, Kate, so you've explained to us about your online live chat versus your live answering support services. So tell me, why is it so important to create sales systems even when you're just starting out in business?
So most small business owners and consumers are looking for a personal experience. And if we think about what their needs are and we think about our own sales interactions, number one, there's a question of, did someone answer? Because we're now in an on-demand economy. And so when someone wants something, they have a need. This wonderful time where we used to all do a bunch of research, that doesn't really happen anymore. We wait until I have a need, something's broken, I'm ready to buy, and the first person that answers, I'm going to go to Google Maps, click to call, and if they don't answer, I'm already on to the second name, then I'm already on to the third name. So for us, if for a small business, the best advice that we can give them is be present, number one. Make sure you have every opportunity to service your consumers and to answer and create those opportunities, whether they be on the phone, online, ultimately in Ruby's roadmap, via text message, in social media. We want to be able to actually handle and communicate across any channel. And that's important for small businesses because demographics are changing and how people interact are changing. So one is be available to capture all those opportunities, because I think you will be surprised how many you are missing. But again, number two is handle them with care, because business predominantly comes from referral, and particularly for small businesses that are getting started, your most efficient channel for acquisition is referral, and it's your reputation.
100%, 90% of all of your business is going to come from referrals, especially in the first 2 years of business, without question. So how does that kind of dovetail into like your sales system versus your customer service system? Because like those are like two different things, right?
They are two different things. And so our receptionists, what they do is they have technology behind them that dynamically builds call flows for our customers, because we have 13,000 customers that have different products, different services, different hours, different goals. And so we work with our customers to dynamically build out not only their call flow to say, what is the call flow for an existing customer? This is a service path. For a potential new customer, how do I screen and generate a lead and send urgent notifications or do a real-time call connect to my client, or take that customer through a potential detailed intake process? Or what happens if it's a solicitation, and how can I prevent that from taking time from my small business owner? So we have dynamic call flows that build in our technology that we work with our customers to design. And here's the trick. Is when you design it for the first time, you'll learn a little bit, and then you design and tune and design and tune. And in a given year, our customers change their call flow and their lead intake forms 10 to 12 times. It's not static. And so because we've learned, and then they realize, okay, I've got this humming now. Now I'm going to think about advanced features. Can you give me another new DID, a telephone number? Because I'm going to run a campaign and I want to put that dedicated phone number on this campaign, because I want to measure, this is the first time I'm spending real money on, again, a particular sales strategy, and I want to measure it, and we can do that. And so we have an entire customer support and success team that is constantly monitoring our clients' data and their interactions to say, hey, client, whatever you just did, it's working, because we just saw a major spike in your call volume. And so there's something good here. And if that's a sales campaign, hopefully it's not a service issue, but if it is a service issue, that outreach is even as important to say, is there a service problem? Do we need to update our call flows to help diagnose and provide feedback to maintain trust with your clients right now? So again, we can dynamically change all of those call instructions. And it's important that customers think of that flow as dynamic.
Now, one of the things that I believe in is when people are first starting out in business, that they start as a side hustler first. I do not believe in people quitting jobs to start businesses until they kind of are really sure who their customer is and that they have something people are willing to pay for. But if you are running a business and it's a side hustle for you, and you might be working a full-time job or working flex hours, and you don't really have a team, how should you approach customer service? And is that something that Ruby can help with someone who's like kind of juggling a full-time job and a fledgling business?
Absolutely. And again, it comes back to every call that we have, we're going to triage for that side hustle. And again, we have a lot of customers that fall in that category, or the serial entrepreneurs where they have 3 businesses and they're running all 3 at the same time. And so being able to get that information organized that says, and where we have SLAs to say, okay, this is a potential new client. Potential new clients get live connections. And so always try to catch me on a live connection, because my ability for my side hustle to turn into a full-time gig is dependent upon me winning that new business. So those are real-time live transfers. Make sure you connect me. The other thing that we do with our clients is that, let's take, for instance, we can't find that person. We actually have, again, these dynamic call flows that say, but we're accepting new business. I tell you what, I see in the call instructions here, because we tell our clients, just put it in your mobile app that you're out of the office until 2 p.m. Melinda will be back at 2 p.m. and she'll be returning calls at that point. We're taking on new customers. Would you mind if we call you back then? Is there a good time that I can say we can reach you after 2 p.m.? Because now you're not going that 1 hour at a time that you're going to make another decision. Now you're not going to go anywhere, because Melinda's going to call you back after 2 p.m. And the other thing is, Melinda, you can call us at 2 p.m. and saying, I don't have time to call this person back, but here's what I want you to tell them. Ruby, I want you to make an outbound call for me. And so Ruby does inbound and outbound calling. And this is what I need you to do. Go collect the following information, set up a schedule, and schedule an appointment for me. And so we really want our customers to think of us more as a personal assistant that can help them do the inbound, the triaging, the outbound, the scheduling elements of everything that they're doing, and based on different types of business propositions. So on the customer service side, if it's existing customers and we know going, gosh, I'm not going to be able to get to that until this weekend, we can change our call flow to say, because of everything going on with COVID and hiring, we're a little bit short staffed right now. I just want to be transparent because trust matters. And so we will get back to you. It might take us until Saturday, but trust me, we're on your case. We're here for you, and we will get through this. We're just working through some of the stress issues in just business right now. And if I hear that, I'm going to say, I get it. Thank you for letting me know. Saturday's no problem. But now I know, and I'm willing to be patient, and I'm willing to, again, maintain a relationship of trust. So all of these happen with the same receptionist, the same interaction flow, but we have teams to help our customers really interview them and diagnose, how does your business work? And how do we think about what happens with a potential new client? What happens with a returning customer? What happens when you have a service issue, when you're out of office? And so we have all of those tools that we make available for clients.
I love it. I actually had no idea that you guys make outbound calls too. So that's like really cool. All right. Last question, Kate, before we bring you guys back. How do you know when it's time to outsource part of this stuff? Like, how do you know? I mean, because the biggest challenge that small business owners always have is figuring out how they're going to pay for it, right? Like, oh my gosh, what is this bill going to be? So how do you know when it's time to outsource part of your sales process?
That's a great question. And the answer is there is no bad time to do it. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have enough time in your day as a small business owner to really truly handle those sales inquiries and handle them, again, not only to be able to capture all of them, but to establish trust, you've already checked the box of, ooh, maybe I should do this. So then the question becomes demand. Do you have enough marketing going on where there is demand coming in and you're missing opportunities? Because those two things together will create an immediate ROI for a service like Ruby. Now, if you don't have enough time in your day, but you're not spending any money on marketing and you're getting 6 phone calls a day, Ruby can 100% get those 6 phone calls for you and establish trust. But your problem is probably more of a marketing problem than it is a growth in scale and in accepting the lead. So I would say really the two qualifiers are, you don't have enough time, but you also are seeing some real lead flow, and whether that's referrals or SEM programs or social media programs that you're running, those are the two things where I would say you should have a conversation with a Ruby or another provider like Ruby. And then it becomes, okay, well, what are your business dynamics? And because there are lots of providers out there that are inexpensive, that will 100% live answer, but they'll just take messages. Ruby we're not the cheapest service, but our goal is to triage all of those calls, to prioritize, to turn them into leads, to provide intake, to do the outbound, and to really act more like that assistant. And so we are actually a little bit more expensive, but I would tell our customers, if you were to ask a Ruby customer, I think they can tell you within the first month they see an ROI from Ruby. And we hear this all the time from our customers going, I didn't think I'd be able to afford Ruby. And then I realized how many calls I was missing and how many opportunities. And now I see it, and it paid for itself in month 1.
That was such valuable information. I'm going to take a commercial break right now. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you my 4 favorite business questions. I'm Melinda Emerson. You're watching the Small Biz Chat podcast, and we will be right back.
You know that old dilemma. If a tree falls in the forest, well, if someone contacts your business and no one's there to greet them, did it really happen?
Hello?
Hello?
Who's that?
Who's that?
Oh, this is James. I just had a question.
Oh, this is James. I just had a question.
Okay, I get it. It's an echo.
Okay, I get it. It's an echo.
Wow, well, you don't have to mock me.
Wow, well, you don't have to mock me.
I'm so alone out here.
But you're not alone with Ruby. We're the team of remote receptionists and chat specialists who are always on, 24/7. We answer all your calls and chats live from right here in the U.S. We take messages and transfer calls, just like an in-house receptionist, only better. Experience Ruby for yourself. Visit ruby.com, or better yet, call us 866-GET-RUBY.
Welcome back, everybody. Now it is time for my favorite part of my Small Biz Chat live show, my Hit It or Quit It panel. I'm going to invite both of my guests, Sharie Hendricks from Laguna Candles and Kate Winkler, CEO of Ruby, back to answer my 4 favorite business questions. You guys know what they are, but they don't. So, all right, guys, here's the rules. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer, and you cannot repeat the answer of any other guest. If you do, you're going to get the cowbell. So I don't want to give you guys the cowbell. I want you guys to give me good, clean answers, and really the first thing that comes to the top of your head. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
All right. Sharie, I'm going to come to you first, and then I'm going to come to you, Kate, and then I'm going to switch the order for the next question. I'm going to keep going like that. Okay? All right. So my first question coming to you, Sharie, is what is your favorite podcast? What is your favorite business podcast?
Small Biz Ladies podcast.
Oh, no, you're trying to be teacher's pet here. What are you doing? Listen, I thank you. I thank you for listening to my podcast. But, are there any others that you really like that you listen to?
I'm being totally honest. No.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I'm your first foray into podcasting. I want to hear from you now, Kate. What is your favorite business podcast?
Well, Sharie did just take my answer. So I'm going to go with Pod Save America because my husband obsessively listens to it, and it's so good. So it's always on in my house, and it's one of my favorites.
Actually, one of my favorite podcasts is actually The Hidden Brain on NPR. Mm-hmm. I really, really like that podcast, and there's so many good ones out here. But I really like that podcast. Mm-hmm. All right, now, Kate, this first question is coming to you. So, Sharie, you're going to have a minute to think about your answer this time. All right. So, what is your favorite business app?
Okay.
Favorite business app.
This is the first thing that came to the top of my head, and you won't think it's a business app, but I'll explain why I think it is Candy Crush, because we are constantly evolving in problem solving, and it reminds me to slow down and stop and observe what the problem is and to think 3 steps ahead. And I'm not kidding. Since I've started playing that, it has made me more patient as a problem solver. And it really says, no, don't just start solving. Stop for a second and observe. Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I'll take it any way you want to give it to me. All right. I don't know. I've never played Candy Crush. I avoid all video games like the plague. But anyway, so, all right, Sharie, what is your favorite business app?
You're not going to believe this, but the one that I enjoy the most is Calm, because I really feel that self-care is huge and taking just that moment to just get quiet. And so I feel it's an excellent business app, Calm.
Well, given that you're a candle manufacturer, that's not that big of a reach for me. I can see why you would like that because I feel like you're in the self-care business, right? You want people to smell the candle and chill. So I can see why Calm would be a great app for you. And I actually really like that app a lot as well. But my favorite app, I got to tell you guys, is Dropbox. I couldn't live without Dropbox because I have so many team members and people all over the country and one outside of the country. And if I didn't have Dropbox, our stuff would be a mess. So I'm a big, big, big fan of Dropbox. All right, Kate, what is your favorite old school marketing tip?
For me, it's all about the customer testimonial because it really does come back to referral, and who better to sell your product or your service than the people who use it.
I love that. Getting into the habit of asking for referrals is something that I'm always talking about to small business owners, because it's like, no, ask them for a referral. And 4 to 7 days after you just delivered something to them is the best time to ask them for a referral. So I 100% believe in that. Sharie, what is your favorite old school marketing tip?
I think that marketing is the key. Don't let a month go by. Don't let time go by without being consistently honing in and focusing on marketing. I think that's the primary key to business.
I love it. I love it. And you're right. If you're not marketing, you will not soon have no business. So I agree with you 100%. Always keep marketing. Good stuff. All right. Last question. And Cherie, I'm coming to you first for this one. What is the best business book you have ever read? Best business book you have ever read?
There's one book. It's called Black is the New Green. That was one of the best books I've ever read, business books. Black is the New Green.
Now, why is that? What did you love about that book?
I liked the data. I thought it was very enlightening. I liked the idea that this was many years ago, but they had a pulse on being mindful of diversity and the power of what one's just the power of what we spend, and not only that, who's spending it. And it was just a great book. I think I would suggest it to anyone.
Okay. I like that. Kate, what is your favorite business book?
Mine is probably Culture Code, because it really simplifies just this magnifying power of culture, but into three fairly simple guides and tools, which is, create a safe environment, allow people to just share vulnerability, and establish purpose. And if you have those three things, you eliminate the barriers of what creates highly productive teams. And it's just such a fascinating read, because they even talk about all different kinds of teams, from professional MBA teams to a pool of criminals. So it's a fascinating read. And kindergartners versus lawyers. So it's fabulous.
Interesting. Well, my favorite business book is Disrupt You by Jay Samit. And I love this book because he says, it's great that you want to disrupt the world. How about you start by disrupting yourself? And I love that. I love anytime you can think about how you can be your best version of you. And his book is really, really brilliant for that. And so with that, that's it, guys. So thank you so much for being my guest on this edition of the Small Biz Chat podcast. Thank you to extraordinary entrepreneur and candle lover, Cherie Hendricks, who is the founder of Laguna Candles. Everyone should go over to their website, lagunacandles.com. And remember, the Happy Soul candle is my favorite. So I want you guys to grab that one. And also thank you so much to amazing business leader and CEO, Kate Winkler, CEO of Ruby. If you need help keeping up with your leads, you got to call Ruby, and you can reach them at ruby.com. And thank you all for joining me for this episode of the Small Biz Chat podcast. I've got a brand new book coming out. It's called Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, the revised and expanded edition. If you are interested in being one of my beta readers and getting your hands on that book and some other cool stuff early before everyone else, head over to succeedasyournboss.com/join the book team. If you do that, I'm going to make sure that you have an opportunity to get in on what we're going to call the book launch team. And so don't miss out for that. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on today's episode. If you want more information about how to start and grow a successful small business, head over to smallbizladyuniversity.com and sign up for my course, How to Sell and Market Online, to get your business going in the right direction. Thank you all. The mission of Small Biz Chat is to end small business failure. I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, your host, and I'll leave you with this. You never lose in business. Either you win or you learn. Good night, everybody.